Welcome back. It's been 6 months or a year or something. I'm not really sure. Kind of lost track of time trying to finish up a bunch of projects and get ahead on business stuff. And I forgot to record. I forgot to keep you guys up to date on the 86 project, and I miss it. I miss recording the process and sharing it with you guys, and just chatting about car stuff in general, just stepping away from the day-to-day. I'll start with the 86 because I definitely owe you guys that. I said from the beginning that I would keep you guys up to date on the build and anything planned for it, and I haven't done that. So I'm gonna try to redeem myself and get back into it, and the 86 is a perfect place to start. So this car has given me a run for my money. It's been a process for sure. I think the last thing I left off on was the fender flares. I think I cut the whole car up. I did all the fender flares, basically wide body style. Well, after doing all that, I started to find more and more issues with the wiring and just overall functionality of this car. For example, I haven't been able to tell how much fuel's in the car since I got it, and that was almost 2.5, 3 years ago. So that was a really big problem that I wanted to address, along with the headlight, pop-up motors, the wipers, and stuff like that. Those were the biggest issues that kind of sent me on this path, other than head gasket and everything that I already handled. I think you guys already saw that. So yeah, I'll just pop it open and I'll show you exactly what I've done, what changed. I completely got away from the factory wipers. They were problematic. I couldn't get a clean harness on there. It wasn't working out. So I completely stepped away from the OEM entirely. I mean, the rest of the car is an OEM. There's no OEM wire harness left. So it was just a matter of finding something that worked and I guess retrofit it. That is actually a 1998 Jeep wiper motor. It's got an external wire harness. So it actually made it way easier to retrofit and wire up. I just wired it up to a 2-speed switch. I couldn't get the factory wiper switch to work. So I completely got away from that too. So it's not anything flashy, but it definitely gets the job done, and I can finally drive in the rain. So that's a really, really big win for this build. The second biggest change I've done are the headlight motors. So after probably a year and a half of fighting with the OEM retract relay, and there's those 2 relays you got to use. I ended up getting away from them completely because no matter how I wired them up, no matter where it got its power, no matter how I ordered the relays, no matter what, they would get out of sync, and they would sometimes pass the max opening point and come back down, and it just wasn't working out. So I completely got away from that too. One of the guys on the 86 group I'm in on Facebook, he actually recommended these, I think it's a C3 Corvette electric pop-up motor mod. So basically they get away from the vacuum solenoids that open those headlights and they swap these in. So what's crazy about them is they actually bolt up to the factory holes. Obviously the wiring's different, and then run your wiring. And then there's a little relay that is in line with it, just a single 5-pin relay. And then you just wire everything into the car to a 2-way switch. And yeah, they work absolutely flawless. So I wired them to this switch. They stop in the up position, completely adjusted and everything. Again, that is another huge win. I was battling that for about a year and a half. And then you just flip the switch, they go down as advertised. I actually went back on my header and I made some modifications to the 2-to-1s, basically the merge collectors, and kind of open it up a bit more so I can get some more revs out of this thing, because my last design was kind of bottlenecking it a little bit. So now I could finally rev up to 8,500 again. I think I'm gonna redesign them when I get a bit more motivation. I finally got around to this oil cooler. There's a ton of vibration. It wasn't mounted properly, so I finally got it mounted up and heat taped some wiring that travels under it. Very simple. The elephant in the room is the wheels. So these were an accident. My buddy's, he's actually PCSing soon. He had imported an AE86 GTS from Japan about 5-6 years ago, maybe longer, and he had these wheels with it. So we have the Dunlops on the front and the Longchamps on the rear. Well, he was selling the car. He didn't want to have to move it and pack it all up again, and the wheels came with it. So I jumped on it, and yeah, new wheels. Obviously, this is the after. I got them cleaned up and powder coated all the way around. My guy Vivid Powder Coating in Columbia, he actually did a fantastic job. I highly recommend him to anybody needing anything in the local area. These things were absolutely gone. They were left in like a shed for the last 4 or 5 years, and obviously neglected for years and years and years before that. So there was a lot of corrosion and pitting in the aluminum, but they turned out absolutely great. They're not perfect, of course, because the corrosion was pretty bad, but they look great, and even handmade some hardware on a lathe all the way around. That way they're stainless and they're exactly what I wanted. So I don't know if I covered this in a previous video, but I did the bomber bar from scratch, and then I popped in some fog lights for kind of that JDM Trueno look. Whenever I did the fuel cell, I went ahead and replaced the fuel pressure regulator because I thought it might have been faulty. The difference between this setup versus what I had was this one has a pressure and a return line. So my in-tank fuel pump is actually a 255, and it pushes and gets regulated down to at the most 6 PSI up here. And then whatever pressure is in excess, of course, it goes back into the fuel cell. So it should increase the longevity of my fuel pump. What's cool is it's an in-tank fuel pump, so it's a bit more quiet, a bit more modern, versus, I guess, what the previous owner had in here, which was an external fuel pump from like AutoZone or something. And then, of course, I just plumbed it into the bottom of my ITBs. And this car runs so much better with this more efficient fuel setup. Also went ahead and I added some mesh filters inside the ITBs. That way, you know, I don't suck up a rock or anything with this vent here. I made some 1-of-1 Trueno door card handles. I made these on the CNC, just as like a warm-up project for myself. But both on both sides. Most recent big thing, I actually mostly just finished it, but I got a couple more pieces left to go, but it's good enough for now to sit. I finally cut out all of that rust. Building up to this project, I went ahead and I got rid of all the weird battery tie-down stuff that was going on before, and I went with a Melee Design Firm battery tray with a full throttle battery. Ties right in, and it is stout. That was leading up to this job. Got all the rust, treated some of the spots over there that had a little bit of that surface rust going on, and then framed in a fuel cell. I actually made this fuel cell from scratch. Just ordered a bunch of 125 thousandths aluminum and went to town. I ended up going with an FI Tech fuel pump and a ISS fuel sending unit, because that was actually, aside from the rust, that was the biggest problem I had with the car, is I never knew how much gas I had. Made a couple of the pieces on a CNC to bolt the fuel pump and the fuel level sending unit. Made all custom AN lines, all -6. One of my favorite things, I finally fixed these, so these actually work. So usually with a fuel cell, you would fill it up in the back or have some aftermarket neck area. I was able to maintain the factory location, and it does. It fills up perfectly all the way to the top. You can see I built it to go under the frame rail, and then you can kind of see the neck back there. After I finished that and I got all this set up, and then I did some testing, drove it down the road, filled it up. I found out that my fuel level gauge from Autometer either wasn't compatible with this 0 to 90 ohms fuel level sending unit, or it was just broken. I'm not sure. I had it in the car for at least over a year and a half, and I never really had a chance to test it and make sure it worked. So I don't know. Went down to AutoZone, picked up like a $25 fuel level sending unit for 0 to 90 ohms, and it worked. So it was definitely the gauge. So I got inspired to buy an all new matching set of gauges because I couldn't find anything that matched all the other ones I had. This is what they look like. Went with the black face, black ring with the white text, and then I upgraded all the standard illumination to white LED. So now, as you can see, it knows how much fuel is in here, and everything works fantastic. All that's left now is to replace that wideband, because that wideband sensor is actually faulty. It's a much more simple setup in here, but I feel like it's a little bit more period correct, I guess you could say. But that, again, massive win. All of my gauges work. Never thought I would get here, to be honest, but here we are. That's pretty much it. A lot of that was just really time consuming and tedious. It took months and months of research to figure out how to do some of these things because I've never done them before. I'll do my best to keep you guys informed of what's happening next with it. I still need to plate in the spare wheel well area. I did mention that there's another 86 that my buddy, he sold and I bought, which had these wheels on it. So I bought it. It was a 1986 GTS coupe. It needs some love, but all in all, it was a fantastic deal. It wasn't this overly inflated Takumi tax price. But I have too many cars, and even though it was a good deal, I couldn't bring myself to keep it. I just wouldn't be able to give it the attention it needs. Honestly, 186 is a lot of work as it is. So Josh was actually really interested in it. He offered to sell his 240 and buy it from me. Once he's back home, once we have the same off day or whatever, we'll do a walk around of the new to us 86, because the thing's pretty sweet. It's got a cage and everything, a 4A 16 valve. Pretty sure it's a small port. We were doing a little bit of research on it. Yeah, that thing is super sick. So that's not all I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of Hellfire Fab stuff. I've honestly been doing that in my full-time job more than I've done anything else. Josh and I were working pretty hard on getting the shop insulated. So it's not complete yet, but it's close. A lot of shop work, a lot of fulfilling orders. My wife and I also picked up a 2015 STI, which I'll be doing a lot of work with. As soon as I get a little bit more time for my full-time job, I'll start building some stuff for Hellfire for that. Still got the Subi, I still have the FRS. A lot of things actually changed on both of those too. Mostly the FRS. It's no longer like a Stancy Boy FRS, it's actually more of a functional build, which is pretty cool. I'll show you in another video. Yeah, that really wraps up the update. I just kind of wanted to touch base with you guys, let you know I still want to make videos. I still want to share my adventures and stuff, and Josh does too. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago, and I think now is the best time to start getting back into it and just get back to the roots, you know. Remember why we started doing this, why we started building, just for fun and the adventure and the learning. And I've been doing a lot of that, but I've just been doing it by myself, and I just miss involving you guys, and I miss making new friends because of it. And so let's get back into it, and let's make more content.